So, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all our beautiful viewers for Intimate Conversations. And here today we have another series, obviously kicking off for the new year. And what a beautiful way to start with Sharon Bakker. So, thank you for coming in. And I've been looking forward to having this chat with, I often say this on our Intimate is that we follow each other on Facebook and different networks and social platforms, and never actually sometimes get the opportunity to sit and really go into conversation and find out about each other in a deeper way. So this was the reason and purpose behind Intimate Conversations, to highlight the pioneers who have been holding this light and bringing this new world into play,
Mhm.
raising consciousness for humanity and assisting. So welcome, Sharon, and yeah, lovely to
Thank
have you
you.
here.
Thank you. I'm so blessed to be here. So thank you for inviting me, Mandy. This is
Mm.
really quite a momentous moment for me because this is probably a first for me, and learning the technology of Zoom. Mm.
Yeah, I know it takes a little bit. I
Yeah.
honestly, my daughters used to get so fed up. I'd ring, old landline then when I was learning computer right back at the beginning, and my daughter would go, she just knew straight away it was going to be a computer
Yeah.
thing, and she
Hmm.
can't see what I'm trying to tell her. Frustration.
Yes. Well, I'm
But you
quite.
learn.
Yeah, well, I'm going to be getting some coaching around this, so is that I'm not asking everybody the questions about, oh God, how do I do this? How do I do that? And why is that? And what's that there for? And yeah, so
Yeah,
we'll get that nutted. Yeah, we'll get
yeah,
this.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Awesome. No, it doesn't take, honestly, once you get it, you get it. And it doesn't take much to get it. It's not that difficult, really.
Right.
All
Well, I've got
right.
it I've got the slot nailed today anyway.
Yeah,
So
yeah, cool. That was
yeah.
great. Good work. So I'm just going to read your bio here, Sharon,
Right.
and just introduce you to the people that may not know you.
Hmm.
Um,
Sure.
Sharon is retired and living in Taranaki with her amazing husband, Frans, and friends, isn't it? Yep,
France. Yeah, that's
yep.
correct. Yeah.
Her passion is healing. So this is written by Sharon. I've been aware of spirits since the age of 4. However, I didn't work with them until after I turned 33, when my whole life, like everything, turned upside down and spiraled out of control. I grew up in a very violent home where there was so much abuse. I turned to drugs and alcohol to bury my pain, my anguish, absolutely loathing myself. I lost my home, my children, my family, including all extended family, because the finger was pointed at me as my father went to jail for his crimes. My family and friends asking me how could I do such a thing. I healed all of that. Um, And I stopped the drugs, got off the booze, and never took a single medicinal drug for my mental health, because I knew in my heart there was something bigger than me, a higher power taking care of everything. I've been very, very fortunate that the circumstances, the right people, the right tools showed up at the right time for me to heal all of this. I'm 65 years old and living a healthy, happy, nearly euphoric life, and using my life experiences to help others to heal. However, I was triggered 13th of May 2023, then again 3 weeks later, and I had to reach out for help because I was not coping with those triggers, to discover that my inner me, my inner children, still need healing. Today, I'm starting a new training program, Healing the Inner Child, with other women, and we have an inner child healing specialist tutoring us. I'm so excited. Tomorrow, I have a meeting with another magnificent lady, and from that, our vision is to create a spiritual facility for Taranaki people and so much more beyond that. I'm truly blessed. Beautiful. Wow, Sharon, that's often often we do have some, tumultuous lives, don't we?
Yes,
And
most certainly.
that we learn from them. We not fun going through them, but when you look back into them, you see how much you learnt and how where that growth came from, in later years. Um, so were you, this is what I ask everybody before, as we go into these little chats, but were you an aware, consciously aware child in your family when you were young? And what was the dynamics of that, if you were and if you weren't? Like, what we say, hearing that it was violence, was that your dad?
Yes, yes, that's
Obviously, yeah,
correct. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
The
yeah.
first time I was very aware of spirit was I was 4 years old, and I was staying at my grandma's in Waitara here in Taranaki. And I said to Nana, "Hey, Nana, there's a lady," because the gate was squeaking, and it was middle of summer, Christmas time, school holidays, for most families. And I looked out the window, and there's this beautiful woman there in a white flowing gown with a cap that looked like a shower cap.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, and I said to Nana, "Oh, there's a lady sitting on the gate." And of course, my two aunties were sitting on either side of me, and they looked out the window and they said, "Oh, Sharon, there's no one out there." So Nana, she humoured me. She said, "Well, what does she look like?" So I told her, and she slapped me. She said, "That's my mother you're talking about."
Oh,
And so that was when I learned at a young age, you do not tell anybody anything. And so whenever I sensed anything, saw spirit, I didn't tell a soul. So it's pretty much a journey that I did on my own. But then there was all the abuse at home too, and all the violence and the anger. And I always had a sense that I always knew what kind of mood Dad was going to be coming home in,
mhm,
so I would make sure that I'd go and be doing something to be, to distract myself from the fear.
right.
He would always still catch up with us anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah.
Mm,
And then by the time I was 7 years, by the time I was seven, I had, what would you call it? Okay, so I had the ability, Mandy, to slip out of my body.
yeah.
My soul, my spirit would slide out of my body, and I would go to the other side and have a yarn with the angels and anyone else that wanted to talk or play with me.
Mm,
This particular day, I recall standing in front of, it's not something I talk about freely because people don't understand it, but the
yeah.
Grand Masters. I was 7 years old, and I remember just sitting there in this bright golden light with my hands like this, and they were talking to me and touching me, and they said to me, and tear up when I think about it. They
Mm,
said, "Child, you are about to embark on a big journey, and some of it's going to hurt. It's going to be very painful, but please trust us that you will be okay."
oh,
By the
wow.
time I was 7, I was misdiagnosed with epilepsy. Because I was able to move out of my body,
Yeah,
I would be in a catatonic state.
right.
So the teachers picked up that something was wrong with Sharon. They told Mum and Dad. They took me off to the doctor. They sent me off to Hamilton for all these tests to diagnose me with epilepsy. So I wound up on barbiturates from the age of 7 till 12, which, and in that time, I have
Right.
no memory of what my life was like, except 3 weeks when my baby sister was born. We were staying with some friends, and she didn't give me my pills, and I kind of
Right.
got a feeling that she knew that there was nothing wrong with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Wow. So they just absolutely numbed you out.
oh, for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But I also am aware too that the my mum told me later, much later in my life, that Dad bit me so badly as a baby that I was bleeding from all orifices, my nose, my mouth, my ears. And she nursed me back to health. She didn't take me to the doctor because she knew what would happen. Yeah.
Yes.
But what had happened is I'd had a
Wow.
little brain bleed. And so during that time, through my recovery, from that, my brain rewired itself.
Yeah.
And so I have to work really hard to remember things. To when I read something, I've got to reread it so it's, it's absorbed into the grey matter.
Yeah.
And yeah, so but no, I'm okay. I'm
Yes. Yeah, yeah. Wow, that's heavy. Like, you know, as for a very young child.
okay.
And did he do any sort of other damage to any other siblings? Like, was it just you?
Oh, my younger sister, Deborah,
Mhm.
she was a year younger than myself. But like I said, he was a very violent man. So it wasn't just the sexual abuse, it was also the horrific beatings.
Right.
And however, Deborah and now Deborah has since passed away, so I can talk about her freely. And she always said, "Tell our story, Sharon, tell our
Right.
story."
Yes.
She's been gone 24 years this year. She
Mm.
was just so
Yes.
young. Anyway, so Deborah and I were honeymoon babies. So my
Right.
father used to always repeatedly tell me, "You girls aren't even meant to be here." And my thought was, well, you should have kept it in your pants, but hey.
Yeah.
And then my other two siblings, I've got a brother and a younger sister, they were planned babies. So
Right.
Deborah's and my life was totally different to my two younger siblings. It's almost like we were from a different family, different
Yeah.
parents. Yeah. So, but it was very interesting. The dynamics were quite interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. And did your mum, how did she, like, she never left him?
No,
Nothing like that? She
no, no.
no.
I mean, it was interesting because my mum died of lung cancer. 10, so what is it now? 20, yeah. So it'd be 14 years ago.
Mhm.
And I promised her at the age of 13 that if anything ever happened to her and she was sick, I would, or wherever I was in the world, I would come home and look after her and nurse
Wow.
her.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. I promised her that. So I did that when I found out that she was terminal. And you know what? She told me, Mandy, we had great discussions. She only lived 3 weeks from the time that she was diagnosed. We had great discussions about that time,
Yeah.
about my younger life. And she said, Sharon, she said, there were so many times I wanted to leave your father, but back in the days, you didn't have benefits.
No.
My parents would say to me, well, no, you married him. It's your bed. You sleep in it.
No.
And yeah, all that.
Yes.
So she didn't, and her family weren't, they were also dysfunctional.
Mm,
And so, but my mum, she was a beautiful soul.
mm, mm.
And I wanted to follow her lead. And she
Yeah.
always said to me growing up, Sharon, she said, if you want to be treated right, you treat people right. And so
Yeah.
I've always followed that philosophy. Yeah. And
It's
be
it,
kind.
it's interesting when you look at the bigger picture of those sorts of situations and families and the life that we live. And you see that every soul comes in here to help us heal something, right? And so when
Mm,
you look at that, you look at how much of a beautiful, loving act it was that your mother chose to come in and bear all that to be able to come through with you, say, to bring through the change, because you're the one that's going to change all of that dynamic throughout your lineage and your future children, all of that. And also, we might sit in judgment, say, of your dad and, what a man. But again, too, these people come in and they play out a character, and he's a catalyst for this to be able to be played out. And again, it's actually an act of love. And I know people are going to go, "What?" I
yeah,
don't think
what is this woman
so.
talking about?
Yeah, but it is. It is. On a soul level, it is. And that there, if we can stay in that awareness and recognize that throughout our life, which we don't when we're young, we haven't any of that idea right then. But if we can, it takes away a lot of that held on pain,
Mm,
you
yes.
know. It
Mm,
did for me anyway, recognizing that that's really what it was. And it took me a bit to get it, but I did eventually. And I realized, and it was through spirit showing me a body with no skin on, And I thought, well, that's a machine. Like, actually, our body's a machine, and all it's going to do is keep us alive. That's what its job is to keep us alive. And then they put skin on, and I realized, oh, now I have an identity. I can actually see a person as such. And I realized the skin is definitely our identity. So anything going on with the skin is about how we see ourselves in the picture of others. And and then I realized that, you know, they were showing me about the person coming in with a character and taking on a character, and that this character is the person that's going to play out the drama and the stuff that we need for them, for us to heal whatever part it is we need to. So yeah, it was very interesting and very cool, because it took a lot of the things that I was holding on to. I could then come in and actually thank them, rather than hold judgment and hate them, maybe, want revenge and all those things,
Yeah, yeah,
so it
indeed.
was like, yeah, I could actually bless them for doing that, because it wasn't who they are.
Mm,
It's not who they are, soul
no.
level.
On a soul level, definitely not. No,
No.
I agree with you totally. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Mm,
yeah, but that would have been difficult to go through for sure. But again, too, now you're setting up a spiritual space, yes, but also these workshops now that you're going to be running, and helping people heal the inner child, this young child that's gone through all the trauma. Yeah.
yeah, I think trauma and grief are the two biggest issues that we've identified, especially since COVID.
Yes. Oh gosh,
That's
yes.
yeah, when COVID occurred, that's
Yeah.
when, people, okay, they loved the lockdown and everything like that, but of course, people then had their workplaces changed. They were working from home.
Mhm.
People were judged and criticised because, well, they coughed or sneezed or whatever, and it's only a
Absolutely.
sneeze,
Yeah.
and all sorts of terrible things started to occur. People got really critical and judgmental and unfriendly, unloving, unwelcoming through
Totally.
that whole year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Couple of
so
years. It was just
yeah.
horrible.
Oh, it was pretty bad.
It
Yeah.
was, and I totally agree. There's a lot of trauma involved in that from people now.
Yes.
I see it
Mhm.
playing out. Now there's a
Mm,
huge grief around the loss of their loved ones.
mm,
There's lots of people passing over,
yes.
and cancer is rampant. It's like there's just this hideousness that's playing out now that we all knew was coming, and
Mm,
it's horrible to witness it. And now, these family members, even myself, watching some of my extended family, now starting to get sick, and it's like, oh, here we go. And
mm,
it's a horrible thing. I'm trying to change that program, but it's not my program. It's what it is. It is what it is.
mm, mhm.
Mm. So
I
yes, I agree.
Yeah, I think, since that time, the trauma and the grief is coming out, and I think we're feeling like, and because it's going unchecked, unhealed,
Yeah.
people aren't identifying what is triggering it all,
Yeah.
then this is where, marriages are breaking up, relationships, friendships, people are so self-critical, their diets have changed, people are becoming more obese. We've just witnessed so much happening
Me too.
outside.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And so, with France and I were living in the Coromandel until March last year, and I lived in gumboots for 2 years, bar 4 weeks, and that was 2 Christmases, because
Wow.
it was constantly raining, what was scary about it is the roads were washing out, and
Yes.
if there's a medical emergency, we were 2.5 hours from any medical care. And
That day.
so I
Mm.
said to Frans, "Bugger this, I wanna go, I wanna go back home. We wanna go
Yeah.
back to the Naki," and we got, an opportunity to come back in March last year, which was fantastic, and that's why we're back here. I feel so much safer here. Uh,
Yeah.
but
It,
coming
it,
back and being triggered the way I have, and reaching out, and I'm actually starting this course today. It starts at 7 o'clock tonight on Zoom,
Beautiful.
and it's a 12-week program. and it's about healing the inner child, but also training us on how to help others, and how best can we deliver the best versions of ourselves to help
Mhm.
others break through their trauma and their grief. And
Yeah,
so much
beautiful.
has changed in myself over the last few weeks because of it.
That's lovely.
And people
That's
have
really
actually even
beautiful.
noticed the change. Um,
Yes. Yeah.
and they said, "Are you okay, Sharon?" I go, "Yeah, I'm really good, thank you." "Oh, you just look different. I don't know, it's just something different about you." And I'd rather not explain it just yet,
Yeah.
until I'm further into this program. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
and
really great. And that's the thing, we are here to lead by example.
yes,
And yeah, that's a very cool thing. People will be, what are you doing? I want to know. Okay, I want to do that too.
mm,
It brings them
yeah.
on board.
Well, that's why I thought I'd leave our little chat until January,
Yeah,
because I still needed to get my head around what had occurred to me,
yeah,
what had occurred, and getting the help I needed to sift through this. And now I get it. I'm really beginning to understand now a lot more about the purpose for my arriving into my family when I did.
yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, I've been seeing a lot of people coming back to their family, like
Hmm.
moving back to countries even that they were born in, and actually going back to the intimate families and having to look and deal with a lot of their healing stuff. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
it's perfect. And it is, we know, we've known this for quite a while, is that this time now is where we're coming back into that, real service work again, aren't we?
yes.
It was like COVID, we had this stop, look and listen time, and that block of about 3, 4 years. And it was like, oh my God, now we have to start again. It was like having to start again. And that was tiring for many of us. It was like, oh my God, we've done all this. Why do we have to do this all over again? Like
Mm,
actually start again. But it all was a reset in respect to not just the world and the consciousness and a state of that in that sense, but for us as those light workers, as we call them, love
mm,
workers,
mm.
we really had come through a death of our own, and in the old, what we were in that space before too, and unplugging from that old system, the old matrix as we term it. It's changed all of us, and now we're recreating ourselves new, aren't we? And it's really lovely seeing what's unfolding within us. Mm,
It's fabulous. Yeah,
it
fabulous.
is.
Mandy, I gave up I tossed all my spiritual work away around about 8 years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah, because Frans and I, we were traveling around the country, and we were doing lots of retreats and
you
workshops and
were, yeah.
self-help programs. And I mean, I think I met you about 18, 19 years ago up in
Yep,
Whangarei at a
yep,
health show up there. Yeah.
yeah.
So, um, and I remember, and I still remember you so clearly back
Yes.
then.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
And
Yeah.
I had such enormous respect for you because you were running I think it was I can't, it had the word light in it, I think. It was
Foundation, yeah,
the light.
yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
foundation of light.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I remember all of you being together there, doing healing and chatting with people. And I just
Mm.
loved that glow around you.
Oh,
I could
thank you.
see that glow around you. I thought, gosh, this lady's real.
Oh,
And
that's so lovely. Thank
that's
you.
how I identify. That's what I see around people, is I see a glow, and that tells me that they are for real, that they actually are working from the heart center,
Yeah,
not from the level of ego or the big I am or look what I can do.
yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, 8 years ago, there were a lot of people. There was a lot of stuff going down, and
Mm.
Franz and I got caught up in that. It was kind of like this maelstrom of bullshit.
No,
Excuse
I
my
get you.
language, but there's this bullshit. People were saying terrible things, and and one of them was quite public, and even lied about me. So oh my God! And I said to the universe, you know what? If this is what spiritual do, you know what? You could shove this right up your I won't
I know.
use my colourful language, but I
Yes.
guess that everybody will get the picture. So
Yeah.
I just said, "No, I'm gonna walk a physical life. Stuff it."
Yeah.
So I went back to my trade, and that was chefing. So I
Oh, really?
went back to chefing. Yeah, thought stuff it. Yeah.
Beautiful. It was like that. There was a huge amount of, I don't know, it was definitely this wave that came through, wasn't it? And it's showing up like, wow. And if this is what people think spirituality is and being spiritual as such, it was like this, yeah, I didn't want to be a part of it either. And
Mm.
I felt like it was just giving us such a bad look, honestly. But
Oh,
then
yeah.
what
Mm.
it also did though, I think as as you were just reminding me too, because I'd sort of gone past all that and forgotten about it, but it's that it culled people out. It culled out a big, like there were a lot that were walking well, talking it, not walking it, say.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
I
and
agree.
there was a lot that were just sort of, and there's been another wave of this now where new ones are coming in and they read a book on how to read tarot and next minute they're online doing tarot readings, which is how we learn. It's not all about being fake in it, but what I did, because there was a point in there too, Sharon, where I was thinking, gosh, us, you know, the old crones,
Yeah.
it might be our time's up now, this sort of thing.
Mm.
But what I was seeing, because it quickly was shown to me, no, 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 you are the ones that have had the experience. We've experienced so much, we can teach from that knowing, not reading a book and going, oh, this is how it is. A lot of the young ones today that are coming in as those new world leaders, even some of them have not had the experience. Well, most of them haven't. And so there's a difference in the way that they might bring it forward or present it or teach it. But we're still needed, and I see that, and it was nice to know. Actually, I was thinking, oh my God, we need to move on. But
Mm.
no, I
It's
see.
interesting. It was an interesting time because I could actually really see what was going on just by sitting back and just
Serving. Yep.
observing.
Yep. Me too.
And I thought,
Wasn't pretty.
geez, no. And I thought, geez, you guys, if you keep on this way, it's not going to end well for you.
Mm,
And you know what? Every one of them that did all the, well, I'll say, did not so good things,
yeah.
have now just,
Fallen aside.
they've
Yep.
all just, yeah, and I felt bad for some of them because they were going through some terrible things.
Mm,
However, that was of their choosing, and I had no control over that. I couldn't go
no,
up to them and say, "Look, I'll give you a cuddle and make it all better for you." No,
exactly.
they have to go through that. They have to learn all this themselves. So,
Absolutely. And learn people coming in and into that, say, requiring service of some sort. It was about them learning discernment, actually feeling, coming back into the feeling state of the body. Does this actually, like people might say to you, I've got this lovely person I met and oh my God, you'll love her. And I just think she's wonderful. And then you meet her and everything in you just stands up, like heckles go up and you think,
yes.
actually, no,
Mhm.
thank you. And energetically, you can feel it. And
Mm.
I think it made people sort of start coming back to their own source of awareness and intuitiveness and feeling state, which is what it is right now. It's all about the feeling, isn't it?
Exactly.
Like really,
Exactly. Yeah.
it's
Mm.
totally all about that. And I'm loving, I knew this time was coming. Did you when you were a kid? Like, did you know there was going to be this point in time where there would be a great change of consciousness?
Interestingly enough, when I was 13 years old, yes. When I turned 13, I knew by the
Mm,
time I was 41, 42, that my whole life would change. And it did from that
right.
point on. Yeah. And I wasn't apprehensive about it.
Yeah.
But that was when my sister died. And that's when
Oh,
my whole
okay.
life changed. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And so that's where I went deeper into my spiritual work until, it all fell apart 8 years
Yeah.
ago. Um,
That would have did she sort of Did she come through a lot from spirit for you? Like, did she bring you back into the mediumship side? Because you were quite medium, had a mediumship side, eh?
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
I did, yeah.
yeah,
No. Well, she used to call me Yeah, because as a child, she could never say Sharon, so she just called me Yeah. And so when I hear Yeah, I'm thinking, "Uh-oh, what's up, Debs?" But
yeah.
she talks to Frans more than she talks to me.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah. So Frans will say, "Oh, your sister's been here." I go, "Oh, what does she want?"
yeah.
Yeah.
What's up?
Well, she'll come to me in a dream, or I'll just say, "Oh, come on, for goodness sake, Debs, what's going on here? Help me out here. Show
Yeah,
me what I need to know." Yeah.
yeah.
And my mum. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice having them there, eh?
Oh,
My
it's
mum,
beautiful. Mm.
she rings my fire alarm, my smoke alarm, ring it 4
Oh,
times or 5 times and alerts me to something coming over the next 2 days. It'll turn up within 2 days usually.
yeah.
And it's always, I used to get a little anxious thinking, "Oh God, who's gonna die?" And, all of that sort of thing now, but
Mm,
not now. It's been some good things as well she's
mm.
informed me of, so it's quite good actually. I like it.
Yeah, it's beautiful,
Mm.
beautiful. It's stunning, isn't it?
It
It's
is. It really
it's
is.
it's interesting because when we just yeah, it was the year after COVID, so it was 2020 with COVID, 2021. We had a beautiful friend come up from New Plymouth to the Coromandel, and she said to me, "Oh, Sharon," she said, "would you like to have your bars run?" Which is their bars access
Yep.
consciousness here. I
Yep.
said, "Oh, I'd heard about it, but I'd never had experienced anything like this." She said, "I'll run your bars for you." I'm like, okay. What it was so beautiful.
Yep.
And she gave me a very strong message. And she's Sharon, she said, you really need to go back to your spiritual work. And I'm going, no, 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 not going there. Stuff it, get stuffed. No, no, not going to happen.
Yeah.
And however, she got me thinking about a few things. Anyway, we came for a visit to Taranaki. She ran my bars again. And by the third time, it was all over Red Rover. The
You were back in.
floodgates had opened. My Nanook was back with me. She's my spirit guide. She is the one that she's got quite a strong presence about her, and I can even speak her language because she's Inuit. And when she
Oh,
comes in
yeah.
close, she
Yes.
her words flow out, and then the English version comes through, and I can toss that out too. So yeah, and
Beautiful.
it's been spectacular. Now I'm ready to launch into something much greater now, and
Yeah. Yeah,
people are
I
just
get
saying,
that.
"Sharon, it's time to get back to your work. It's time to do this." And a gentleman by the name of Michael, actually, I can't remember his surname, a Māori gentleman, came down from Whangarei. I met him October last year, and he came into the store where I was working, and he looked straight at me and he says, you're a healer. Get out
Mm.
there and heal." And I went,
Yeah.
"Who the hell do you think you are telling me this?" But anyway,
Yeah.
and he explained quite a few things to me. It was magnificent. Anyway,
Wow.
2 days before we were due to close the shop for Christmas, this woman walks in and she looks at me and she goes, "Oh my God." And I said, What's up?" She says, "Oh my God, you're so beautiful."
Oh.
And I thought, hang on a minute, what's going on here? And she says, "Oh my God, you're a healer." She said, "Oh my God, you've helped so many people." And she started to cry. You
Oh.
Oh my gosh, Mandy. And I tell you what, it was just a defining moment for me.
Yeah.
That that was the second message I had within 2 months, that okay, I've got to get out there and
Yes. Yes.
follow my
It's
purpose. Yeah.
time. It is time. Totally that. And we can all feel this something bigger coming, like that we're coming into a time where we're going
Yeah.
to jump into something bigger. Like whether, who know, I mean, I don't see what's coming for myself. I have no idea. I can feel it.
Mm,
And I get a little frustrated sometimes thinking, well, come on, what is this? But it's really this point in time. I feel, and I have done for a little while now, feeling again we're going to have some major shifts this year. in these big light waves that are coming through. And yeah, there's going to be an activation in somewhere in between March and June. I can feel it. And what that will do is catapult us. And I knew that last time we were going to be shifted into a new timeline, which definitely happened. We came out of the past, dealing with past so much, and being in the now, sort of right now, and still moving back into old past trauma. And then when that big light wave came through, we were shifted into a timeline now, which is our future timeline. And that's why we can feel now this is getting closer. It's like
Yes.
this movement this year, these next 2 years I keep getting are going to be absolutely phenomenal in respect to our jump forward. There's still going to be a huge amount of shite that goes on the planet, and it's going to look like everything's really bad. But for those who have leapt into this space, we're going to just move on. It's like
Yes.
huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm
And I
excited
remember
about these next 2 years.
saying, I am
Mm,
too. I remember listening to one of your talks about that light shifting
yeah.
everything. Yeah, and it was
Yeah.
just magnificent. I thought, yes, finally somebody else can actually talk about it and knows what's going on.
Yeah.
You know what you just said, that same lady back in December said the same thing to me. And I thought,
Right.
oh, okay. So
Yeah.
this is why I'm having this meeting with the lovely Kim tomorrow. And we're going to launch this spiritual facility in Taranaki. So there's quite a bit of planning, and we're also launching a program called Project You.
Oh, beautiful.
And yeah, so this is where a series of workshops will come in, self-help programs, retreats, it could be weekend
Yeah.
retreats, day retreats. There's just so much that I want to do. So now it's time
Yeah.
for me. And you mentioned March, and I thought that's when I want to launch it. Is
Cool.
March.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's been interesting. This 2023 was an interesting year because Nana always said to me, 2023 is the year to clear. 2023 year to clear. And okay, so she told me that back in 2022.
Yeah.
So she said, you just get your shit sorted. But
Yeah. Yeah.
so get your shit
Empty
sorted.
out.
And it was interesting, Mandy, because all the people that I thought were my friends,
Mm,
no, not now. So a
yeah.
whole new bunch of people are coming in, but I always had a feeling that there was, I've known some of these people for years,
Yeah.
but there was a shift in I don't know, shift in energy around all of us, a
Yeah.
complete vibrational mismatch. If
Yes.
I was going in one direction, they're going in another. Some have got sick, some the ego's kicked in, and I decided that that's not where I want to go. So they've all unfriended me, and I'm okay with that
Yeah. Yeah.
because it's now giving me basically I'm excited about what's about to happen. And
Yeah.
I guess I needed to, well, either I let them go or they let me go. It doesn't really matter, but they're
No.
gone,
Yeah.
and I'm okay with that. And
Yeah.
now let's just get on and do what Spirit wants us to do.
I
It's our
know, it's so
calling.
exciting. It's
Yeah.
exciting. I'm
Mm,
excited. And I say that to people and they sort of look at me like, oh my God, but are you looking at what's going on here? And I'm like, I only see the good stuff, like actually, and it's not that I don't see the other, because I do. I do
mm,
not put my power into it. I'm not going to empower it to be there. It's not my stuff. I'm empowering what I want to be here. And that's our future looking brighter than it's ever looked.
yeah.
And
Mm,
us just living how we're meant to live, who we truly are, and by our design, not by anyone else's, but by ours. I just love it. And I see so many more people, just stepping into that space. They're just rolling into it. People that have been on meth for years are just stepping away from meth and changing their life completely. It's like so many different things are going on, and in such a positive way.
yes.
I love it. And I'm seeing, just starting a new chat show actually called Shoot the Breeze. And it's like, this is the talking about the pioneers and listening, to the stories and how we got to where we are. and highlighting this other shoot the breeze is about topics that are sort of relevant in the world in a sense. But the first guy we're airing only starting next week is talking about the Treaty of Waitangi and
Oh.
the government's proposals and how what we need, and he's building communities, on the basis of heart and how they're structuring and this sort of thing. So I'm really excited about that. Another girl coming in to talk about the autism and the children and why there's so many more and all of that stuff. The mental health issues over in the UK, I've got a lady I'm talking with. So it's stuff like that. But what I can see in all of these topics and situations is there's so much positivity coming through that's shifting them into an aware state, yes, but it's the awareness of those states and people in there that are creating the change in them. They still might look like they're messy from here, but these people are in there and their awareness of what it is actually shifting it from the inside, which is how it's got to work. And I'm loving that. I'm like, yeah, let's talk to those people and bring this into other people's awareness, because a lot of people don't see all that.
No, they
And they're
don't.
just seeing the crap that's happening, and I've said it on our Love Speaks that I believe we're just sewer pipes, really. We're just allowing, moving all the shit through our body. And when we get it clean enough, that's what we'll be good. It's just the same sort of thing. And I see that on a global, this pipe is so full of such a lot of shite and caca that it's, it's all getting cleansed out and cleared out. Whatever we might be using, it's working. We just got to keep going. But yeah, it's an interesting time, but it's very exciting. Yeah.
Most certainly. When Frans and I left the Coromandel last year, I said to him that there's something much greater about to occur.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it seems very fitting because we left the Coromandel in March 2023, and now here we are, March 2024, nearly just about.
Yes.
And here we are about to step into something quite different that we've never done before, and yet we're going to be doing it fearlessly. If there's one thing
Yes.
I've learned in my life um, is to live life fearlessly, and
Yes.
I'm working through the inner child, because that's where all of our fear lies. Is because the little one inside, that dear little wee thing inside, is saying, "Oh no, I can't do that. No, you can't do that. You're no good at that. You're not worthy enough."
Mm.
You know what? I'm learning now to say, "It's
Yes.
okay, darling. It's okay.
Yeah.
You're going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. Let's
Totally.
do this together." Yeah.
Yeah. I've always been gung ho. Like I birthed myself. Mum woke up, my head was out. 5 minutes later, I'm birthing myself while they're running her into the theatre room. And I've always had this thing around patience. It's like, come on, we came here. I know why we came here. Let's just get on with it, And I was impatient through my years that I knew I had to play out all this drama.
Yes.
And the observers sitting here going, it's okay, there'll be a time when this isn't happening anymore. But in the drama Mandy, it was like, oh my God, when's she ever going to stop, But what I did sort of come to was recognizing now this is quickening, and for me, this is a good thing because of my impatience, which I learned to be patient. But I was always gung-ho at moving on. Okay, if there's anything I need to see to get me through this, whatever this block might be that I'm not moving, I'm stagnating here. What is it? Why? I always questioning, more and more I questioned, okay, show me that. Yes, I'd see that. Okay, and what else? Is there anything else? And I was always that girl and still am. But in more of a flow, it's sort of like there's more, not so the blocks are sort of not there like they were. There's nothing sort of holding me up because that fear has now gone and
Yes.
I am fearless.
Mm.
But I remember I would take, say, 10 leaps forward, because they were leaps. And and then there'd be this like something that would just, like I'd say, bring me to my knees, like ripping the carpet out from underneath me. I'd drop on my knees and I'd be there for 2 weeks or a month. And it'd be like, oh my God, why do I do this? And one day I thought, why am I fearing going into this situation when I know this is really good for me? It was like, what's the conflict within me in that? Sat in and I went in, and straight away, here's my little girl sitting over in the corner cowering.
Oh,
I
right.
went, "Oh, okay, right." I said, "What's going on? Why are you over there? What's happening?" She said, "You scare me. You're scaring me." And I said, "Why?" She said, "'Cause you're running off without me." I said, "Well, take my hand. You can come with me too." I said, "That's all good. You can come with me." And we had a little corridor, and she came back into, "Oh, yay, let's go," and we were off. But every time I felt that sort of drawback, and that, why am I reluctant to go when I know this is all good? I'd go back in and have another talk with her. And it always worked. She was always the one that was just holding back, was scared, you know, whatever. But it was
Yes.
great to just acknowledge her. It's really important just to acknowledge that in a child, because she or he is the one that's frightened, that's
Mm,
still holding the trauma, maybe. Yeah,
yes.
it's good.
And it doesn't, it could be, it doesn't necessarily have to mean that children, like our inner child, some of our children, some of them have had great lives. They've
Totally.
had great growth, great
Yeah.
upbringing. It could have been something that might have occurred at school, or the neighbour might have said or done something, or the kid across the road might have, bullied us, and
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's what creates all of these doubts about ourselves. So
Absolutely.
yeah, we had, like Dad worked for Kinleith. That was when we were living in Tokoroa back in those days. And and I remember we had horrific neighbours. And I'll never forget the guy's name,
Yeah.
Tony. I won't give the
No.
surname because you'd never know. I might, but and he was an absolute ass to me. But
Yeah.
you know what? When I think back to that, I think he might have liked me actually.
Right.
Yeah, and that's
That's
why he
what
says.
happens. Yeah.
And I've just only learned this in the last few weeks.
Right.
Just
Yeah,
working
yeah.
through the inner child, it's like, oh, he might have liked me. That's why he gave me a hard time. It's like,
Yeah.
hmm,
That's
oh,
it.
nice. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
all of
and
these things are coming to, I'm being shown,
yeah,
all these things. Yeah, yeah. It's
it's
fantastic.
beautiful, hey?
Yeah.
And it is
Yes.
such a like, you know, that I do the cellular work, and every time I went in and did that cellular work, I felt such a freedom. I could feel it within my body. It had actually gone. There was freedom in there now. There was more room to bring more light in. And it just catapults me into, anyway, wanting to do more, more, more. I was like the addict that just needed and wanted to do more. But,
Need to.
find what else. What else is in there that I need to look at? But it's beautiful witnessing that, and assisting others through, and seeing them come through from the other side of the process, and here's this freedom that presents itself within their body, and they feel it. It's beautiful. And that's what that is that you're doing. It's a gorgeous thing. Really
You know,
gorgeous.
when Dad went to jail and I lost everything, I bought a one-way ticket and went to Australia. Didn't
Did
know
you?
anybody from a bar of soap. No, went over there, and I wound up working on an Aboriginal community for a few years.
Oh, wow.
But my friend took me to a little. I went to Brisbane, and my friend took me to a little spiritual church out the back of Brisbane called Salisbury.
Yeah.
And it was my very first meeting, and there was one chair, one empty chair left in the whole centre, and it was in front of me. And this guy, his name's Kyle, and he had one eye that looked straight at you, the other one looked the other way. And he
Yeah.
walked up to me and he sits in front of this seat and he leans up to me and he says, "What's your name, love?" And I said, "Sharon." He goes, "Oh, just look at this eye," he said, "because this one here is looking at making sure that everyone else here is behaving." And of course, everybody just cracked up laughing. And he says to me, "My darling," he says, "you've been to hell and back." But he says, "You know what? You and I are not going to go any further into this conversation because no one here in this room needs to know." But he said,
Mm-hmm.
"I'd like to talk to you after the meeting." Sure, okay. Went out the back. He's the only man apart from my husband who told me everything about my life. He saw everything.
Wow.
And this is what you're going to be doing with it. And I'm going, oh, yeah, right. Yeah. So that I was 33 years old when all that happened.
Wow.
And that was where my journey really started. That's when
Yeah.
spirit came in and started talking to me. And yeah, so I'm just, and what that's why I say I am so blessed, even though it all turned to shit.
Yeah.
That one trip to Australia, and I lived over there for 5 years, and I really found out I really healed a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Mm,
Beautiful, eh? Right time, right place, all those things. It matters.
mm,
And you just follow those instincts, You were
mm,
brave enough to do it. That was great. And look what happened. Freedom.
yeah, and I
Yeah.
wouldn't bloody do it now though.
No. No.
I don't even know where the courage came from. I've no idea, but something nudged me to do it, so I went and did it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Beautiful. That's so good.
one of the best things I ever did, and I wouldn't if I hadn't done that, I probably would not be alive now.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, so that's why I'm so grateful and got so much appreciation for everything, including
Mm,
my father. I really
yeah.
appreciate what he did for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm,
I know it's out there, isn't it, when you come to
mm,
that sort of place
mm,
with it. Mm. Well, this has been beautiful, Sharon, and I really, you know, it's taken a long time for us to get into this space that we can freely walk now and do what it is we're called to do, and not so much of the internal, even though you're saying you might have a bit more, we all have somewhere, but it's not so deep and it's not so sort of tragic anymore, to us when we go into it. Um, but it's a beautiful thing to be able to share from those experiences and, like you're doing, assist other people, because it's through those stories, through those, and being brave enough to even speak about the story, because it's through those that people relate to us and
yes.
know that, okay, you've experienced. And I remember um, a woman talking to me around a midwife years ago when I was carrying my second daughter, and this woman had told this lady, the one that was having the baby, to stop screaming. And she said, "Why?" She said, "Because it's so loud and just stop screaming." And this woman said to her, "Have you had children?" And she hadn't had any children, this midwife. She'd never birthed a baby. And she just decided, "That's it, lady. I wouldn't have you back again," because she hadn't had the experience of it. So she didn't know where it was coming from. She couldn't relate. Yeah,
Wow.
it's interesting, but it's a this is our place, isn't it? Our place to teach and to,
Mm.
as you say, heal. You're a healer. It's putting that energy out there and going for it, and so glad that you are.
Well, Mandy, I've got no shame about what happened in my life. I've got no shame, and I'm happy to tell my story.
Yeah,
And and some of it's, like even with what happened last year, the triggers, it was raw, but it was so real and it
yeah,
hurt like hell. However, I've come to understand that there's a purpose behind that trigger
yeah,
now. And,
yeah,
and I'm just so grateful to the universe for allowing me to experience that and put me through it,
yeah, yeah,
because I'm thinking, oh, Jesus, I'm stamping my bloody feet and thinking, Jesus, I thought I'd sorted all this out already.
yeah.
Shit. But then, yeah, so that was one step I had missed was the inner child work. But
Mm.
I'm okay with that too because I'm ready for it.
That's
Mm,
right. And this is what I've sort of seen very much over the last few years, actually, is how many, which isn't, it's just what I'm seeing, it's just the witnessing, but I'm not judging it. But it's that so many that have been walking this path for so long, teaching, healing, doing all the healing work, all of that, still have so much within themselves. And what I've noticed is that it hasn't been about going into the body. It's been going to other people, say, like running bars, or all of those things can assist us, yes, but
mm,
when we actually go into the body, because it's held in the body, we've got to go into the body to retrieve it. And that's what you're doing with the inner child. You're
mm,
going in. And until we do that, it's still with us. And so many people that I get say, I've done all this work on this. Well, why is it still there then? You
yes.
know. So it's just finding the right tool, but it is definitely about going into the cellular and dealing with it, because otherwise it's just going to stay there. And
Indeed.
it's a great journey though. Well, bless you so much, Sharon, and so, so, so happy you got back into doing all this, because it is an exciting journey, even though, we learn from the people that we have into and that we assist, eh? It's all learning, it's all growth and expansion and all of that stuff. And this year, like we're saying, these next few years are going to be fantastic. So I look forward to watching your journey, and
Oh, beautiful. Thank
as you
you.
go through this. I love
Yeah.
Facebook for that and our social medias. I love that. We can all keep in touch and, offer each other on our journeys. And yeah, it's a great thing.
And hopefully in the future we can all link up physically
Oh, I'd
instead
love
of,
that, eh?
yeah,
Exactly.
so that we can all work together on a project somewhere
Mm, mm.
with people. And this is what I'm looking forward to, is there's a lot of people out there working on their own and they're happy to do that, but I love working with other people.
Yeah, yeah, me
There's
too.
a lot of beautiful authentic people out there in this arena that I so want to link up with. And
Mm,
this is why I was so excited when you invited me here in this space, because I'm no
yeah.
longer shy. I'm
Yes,
no longer
that's it.
I'm no longer afraid of what people think about me or what I'm doing. I don't give a stuff,
No,
because what I'm doing is I just feel like it's time for, people are ready to awaken. So,
absolutely.
and the right
And
people will step in at the right time, to
absolutely.
help them.
And that's the biggest freedom there, Sharon, eh? When
Mm,
you actually stop worrying about what other people think, feel, or talk about.
yep.
It's none of our business. And it isn't
Mm,
any of our business. It's their stuff. But we were always so locked in and worried about what they might think. And I
mm,
remember many times Mum saying, Mandy, what do you think the neighbours will think? Well, I
yeah,
don't care. I know I didn't as a kid. It was like, I don't care what
yeah,
they think. But,
no,
does get in. I mean, it does get in. And I started to take notice and think, oh God, yeah, what would they think? But now,
mm, no.
biggest freedom is letting that go, isn't it?
Well, we're no longer anxious, and
Yeah.
there's no more. I don't feel any anxiety around it anymore.
No,
I
no,
used to be so worried about what people thought, but then, when I gave up all that spiritual work because of what they were thinking,
yeah,
well, who's to blame for that? Me,
yeah,
because I was the silly bugger that decided to just say to the universe, you can
yeah,
stick it. Yeah.
yeah.
But anyway, however, that's okay, because I learned a lot about other things in that time.
Yes,
So
yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
Sharon, the facility that you're setting up, the spiritual, is that like for, say, if I wanted to come over to the Naki and run some stuff, there would be a room there, or is it for other practitioners to
Yes, that's the
play around?
whole idea. Yes, because
Beautiful.
they've got a spiritual church here, but they meet 1 hour a week on a Sunday morning at
Right.
10 o'clock, and everyone else goes to church at the same time.
Yeah.
Well, Taranaki needs more than that. They
Yes,
need a facility
absolutely.
where people can go to someone 7 days a week
Yeah.
for for whatever purpose. So this is why I'm meeting with this lady tomorrow,
Beautiful.
um, and she's just a beautiful soul.
Mm,
And there are other people that I'm linking up with. One of my friends, Kiris, came home from Wales a few weeks ago,
yeah.
because, well, her marriage broke up. She's not shy about me sharing this either. So we have her on board. Our lovely girl Emma, who ran my bars for me, has come home from Taupo. So all these people are coming
Right.
back to
Gather.
Taranaki, and I've always felt that Taranaki is going to be a spiritual hub for
Yeah.
some of New Zealand. Yes, so Mandy. So watch
Yeah.
this space, my darling.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, the
Yeah.
Naki's my Te Atiawa line.
Oh,
Yes.
right.
So that Mong over there, that mountain is
Yes.
the healer's mountain. So it's bringing that all back. Obviously, you're bringing it all back. Yay! High
And
five to
it's
you.
right at my back. It's right at my door. I
Oh,
can
it's
see it here. It's
beautiful,
so
eh?
close. It's just stunning. We love it.
Yeah,
And yeah,
gorgeous.
I was born in Inglewood, so it's
Yeah.
Taranaki's my stomping ground. Yeah,
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 beautiful. Oh,
yeah.
I'd love to come over one day. I've been going to for a few years as I'm going to get down to
Mm,
the South Island sometime too, but
yeah,
feels like this next year and this year is going to be the times for those. So
beautiful.
yeah, beautiful. Well, thank you again so much for coming in. It's been absolutely lovely having a
Oh,
chat with you.
thank you, Mandy. Yeah,
And yeah, love to France and just all the very best with all of your adventures. And like I say, I'll keep looking you up and having a look and seeing where you're up to with it all. But
thank
yeah,
you, my
do
darling.
share.
And
Mm,
I enjoy following you too. So it's just, I
mm,
love listening to your talks. So yeah, so
beautiful.
because you just bring, you bring a lot of, something I might be thinking about, or something's bothering me, and yet you'll bring the answers. And I think, yeah,
Right.
of course, that's what's going on. Yeah, right. Thanks,
Oh,
Mandy.
right, cool. Thank
Yeah,
you. I
yeah.
do hear that from people, and it's lovely to
Mm,
know because otherwise, I'm just doing it because I do it. But
yeah,
it's nice to get people to let you know what they get from it. Not that you need to have all that all the time. Of
mm,
course, you're not doing it for that, but just so that you know that it's making a
mm.
bit of a difference out there somewhere.
Yes,
But
indeed.
cool.
All right, my
Beautiful.
darling. Thank you
Much
so much.
love.
Love you too, my darling. And thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity. It's been
Oh, so
fantastic.
welcome.
Okay, thank you. All right, my love.
Awesome.
Take care
Okay.
and have a great afternoon.
Will do. You
Yeah,
too.
sweetheart. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.